Hi everybody, welcome to Willie's Guitars Acoustic Room. It's nice to see you all again, and it's nice that we're into the new year. And we wish all of you the best and thank all of you for these past years. And here we are in our new location. So I'd like to talk a little bit about affordable vintage. And it's getting harder and harder. Vintage guitars have really gone up in value. New guitars have gone up, and you've all seen that. Yet all the American factories are basically sold out. Getting new, high-quality guitars is getting harder to do. And people have looked at vintage guitars for the reason that old instruments improve with age. This is true of saxophones. It's true of all wooden instruments, pianos, violins. And so we're going to offer you a few things here. We just got this in, and we had to run it through the shop. And we always let the shop take their time and do what needs to be done. And this is a 1951. I don't know if you can see my little note here, but that is a 1951 LG-1. Now these are relatively common, except that in 1951, Gibson made about 500 instruments a year. And by 65, they were making about 100,000 a year. So this was really made in this early era for Gibson flat top making. Gibson got into flat tops late. Martin commanded the market, and Gibson kind of thought that archtops were a really better way to make guitars. Traditional. They were traditionalist. So these guitars from this time period will have this tapered headstock, and that is, we've discussed it, the headstock is skinny here and fat here. Companies like Collings, who make the finest guitars, will make that tapered headstock, and there are certain makers that do that. It's a lot of extra work to get that right, and you do that so your strings break here at a greater angle, and there's a little more mass here for your reflective as the strings go back and forth. That is a sign of fine craftsmanship. Being in 1951, this was largely discontinued. Starting about 52, they would stop doing it on the cheaper guitars, and by 54, all the way up to the expensive L5s, they quit doing it on that too, just because it costs too much extra money. Too many man hours put into tapering a headstock. This guitar has a fairly large neck from this time period, a slight V, Honduran mahogany back and sides, but these LG-1s are ladder braced. So instead of being an X brace, the bracing is installed like this. They did that to save money. But there's also a reason they did it, and that is a certain tone comes out of these. You can hear a 51 like this is going to be rich. This is a golden era guitar. So find it. I hope you can hear that on that microphone all the way there. These LG-1s tend to sound a little boxy, and they make a very good guitar for adding a pickup, should you decide. On a vintage guitar like this, you may choose the option of putting in a sound hole pickup. Or for recording, they tend that kind of boxy. It's plenty loud, it's cutting, it's got a lot of tonality up in the upper mid-range. There's some rumble at the bottom, but it's a little bit boxy sounding, and by boxy, it's kind of trimmed off of some of the frequencies. That comes with a ladder brace guitar. However, a 51 Gibson flat top from this time period, an SJ would cost a person $9,000, $10,000, $12,000. This guitar is $2,950, and we priced it because A, it's got some cracks that were fixed, but it also, we priced it under others that we had seen. And this guitar has many repairs, this 51 LG-1, but it's all been done. So it's ready for you. Now, moving up a little bit, we have this, which is an archtop. This is what Gibson was known for, and this is a 1956 L-48. Prior to World War II, Gibson was making archtops, and they made quite a few things at the lower level, but they made an instrument called an L-50. The L-50 always has the bigger inlays, will have a bound neck, will have a bound pickguard, all of that to signify it's got better wood. And so they made pre-war the L-50. After the war, the L-50, no longer $50. The L-50 was changed a little bit. The earlier ones had dot inlay. The earlier ones were a little less fancy, but they made the L-50, because they were now charging $50 after the war, a little fancier, and they raised the money after the war on the L-50. And then they came out with the L-48. So for 48 bucks, you got a guitar that was basically the same size as the L-50. It's 16 inches across, and that's kind of a standard for an archtop. It's all solid woods. This is a solid spruce top. Most L-48s are mahogany back and sides, mahogany neck. This particular L-48 is not common, not terribly uncommon, but not too common, that it has the L-50 body. This is a maple back and sides, a more traditional wood, and a spruce top. Most L-48s are mahogany. Many L-48s are mahogany topped, and that makes them a very affordable archtop. One of the best standard sized archtops you can get. If you've been looking for a cool archtop, for a variety of reasons, recording, playing jazz, maybe you're studying jazz, this is something one might consider. This 1956 we got from the sister of the original owner, and it took the family a while to decide to let this go. Now they want this guitar to go to someone else for a while who can make music with it. So we present this to you in this more traditional maple back and sides, spruce top. Maple, spruce, just like any L7, L4, L50. And as you guys know, the archtop is going to have a more punchy sound. It's going to be more percussive. Lighter string on this. These guitars can take a 13 gauge string, even 14 gauge strings if you choose, and this guitar is just in, it has gone through the shop and seems to be in good, fine, healthy condition. Both of these are going to have Brazilian rosewood fretboards because they would use nothing else. Of course now Brazilian is gone. This happens to have also its original Brazilian bridge, nickel tailpiece, and it's a fine little guitar and very reasonably priced. And the tag is off it, so I don't remember what this goes for, but it's here for you. There you go. Some affordable Gibson acoustic guitars here from our acoustic guitar room. We look forward to seeing you. Make an appointment, call, sit down, relax, play, and enjoy this for a while. Okay?